Ronald Longley is like many of us, worried about our water future, but he's doing what he can to conserve.
It's very concerning.
Bronson Mack with the Las Vegas Valley Water District says the likelihood of the water levels declining even more so next year are real.
We do expect that water levels in Lake Mead are going to continue to decline.
It's just not producing enough water at the rate we are taking it out of. This is why they can't launch boats. All of this would be underwater last year, all of it.
We talked about the drought all the time, like, oh, it's dry. Well, this year, it's serious.
There will be hard decisions that have to be made.
What is happening, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel. Now today I've got a kind of an interesting build for you. So the idea came from a couple of videos that I've seen from a couple other pages that I watched. One of them being Heavy D, and then the other one was Sin City Outdoors.
There's the boat we're gonna rescue. I feel pretty good about it, actually. I feel really good about it. Yeah, so take a look.
We stumbled across Craig here. He got beached a little while ago because his motor died and the water level left him high and dry. So filmed it, people have been loving it, and everybody started tagging you guys in it. So it's crazy you guys are here. That's wild.
I've been keeping an eye on the Lake Powell water levels for a while just because I'm interested in it. But now, since they're not releasing as much water from Lake Powell, Lake Mead is drying up like fast. And there's been a lot of hype over that and exposed stuff coming up, you know, and it got me thinking, like, that lake supplies water for a lot of people. And like, what if you ran into a situation where you couldn't get water? Like, say you did live in Vegas and I don't know, something happens and there's not enough water to go around. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna get water? And how are you gonna get clean water? So that is the inspiration for this build, and yeah.
Alright guys, so we're out here at my parents' house and we're getting ready to test the first rendition of my water filter idea. Now, the idea behind this thing is so that you can really pull up to any sort of stream, water source, whatever. I don't think like gray water and stuff, but like streams, lakes, rivers, anything like that, and be able to fill up your RV or at least get water for yourself or whatever you need. So I have the whole setup, and I kind of showed you guys the other day when I had two of the filters. I didn't have the sediment filter, the spin down sediment filter, and I didn't have the 1 micron carbon. So let's check that out. So right now I just have a 3 amp hour battery in here. Oh no, I actually have a 5 amp hour battery and it's probably like half charged, but let's try her out. Sounds kind of bad, but that'll probably take a minute because it's got to fill up. Whoa. Apparently that's not tight. Hold please. That's actually got a decent amount of flow to come through that 2 of those filters, so I don't think we'll have a problem to run a few different filters on there. Okay, so here is the 3rd filter canister. This is the 1 micron carbon block filter, and then just a reminder, this one is a 5 micron carbon filter, and this is a 30 micron sediment filter. Now, this spin down filter right here is also a 40 micron, so it's slightly bigger than the first filter. But the idea is I can have this spin down filter, which it might not really spin down, but it'll still have the cleanable screen in there. And that will allow you to throw this into some dirty water, and then you don't have to worry about like if moss gets sucked up or things like that. It does have a slight screen on it already, so that kind of like limits the stuff that's going to get into the pump. But yeah, let's plug this hose in and see if that water, that gray, or not gray, but brown dirty secondary water, irrigation water, comes out fairly clean at the end of that tube. The only other thing that I haven't put on this unit is the UV sterilizer, which I did get it in stock. I have it over there in that pile of stuff, but there's no reason to put it on right now while I'm just testing it. So now there is actually a bit of trial and error involved in this because I'm not 100% sure it's going to be able to suck the water up through this sediment filter. I don't know if it's going to cut down the flow too much. It's a pretty high flow filter, but I don't know. We'll see. So I just need to go get a battery for this thing. We'll be good. Okay, now I did fill up this sediment filter with water already, but the hose is empty, so it'll probably take a second to prime the system, but here we go. Oh wow, that sucked it up pretty fast. Now this filter and this filter are empty, so it'll take a second to fill in. I haven't washed these filters out, so there's going to be black carbon coming out of them. It's significantly more clear.
Yeah, way more clear. Look in the bucket.
So that's the water we're getting out of here. That's the water that we're getting out of that. What?
So look at the difference of the colors going in is coming out.
Yeah. Now there's definitely a pressure difference because you can see this tube is completely full and this one's like packed right here, and then look how much is coming out of this. It's only about halfway full. So that flow rate's down quite a bit. I think this 1 micron filter is only rated for 1 gallon per minute, and this pump can do 3 or 3.5 or something like that. Okay, so this is the water that came right out of that jug. Now let's dump it out and see what it looks like coming out of the filters. Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, look at that. You can see right through it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I wish I had the other one to compare. So we had somewhat of a successful first test because obviously the water was clean. But the problem was, after a little bit of running, the pump just wasn't pumping water anymore. Like, it couldn't suction the water from here into there and be able to force it through all those filters. Because I was looking at it, and you know how I was showing the flow was pretty low. Well, after running it for a few more minutes, it got to the point where it wasn't even really pumping at all. So now we're reconfiguring to where all the filters are going to be before the pump, so it'll actually suck it through the filters. I don't know if it's going to work. We might have to get rid of the old Bauer and get like an RV style diaphragm pump, but we'll give it another try first. Test number 2. We got everything hooked up, but it's actually worse than before, I feel like. It's just got a little tiny stream of water. That's all it's coming out. So, guess that's gonna be a no-go. Too many filters. As you can see, that's actually sucked that down. It's not getting any water through there. So back to the drawing board on this situation here. I was hoping to use this pump specifically just for the fact that it's battery operated and you don't have to worry about having a 12-volt power source or something, but to actually run the UV sanitizer or sterilizer, you're going to have a 110 power source anyways. So I could get a 110 to DC converter to actually run a 12-volt like RV pump, like I was saying, and then it'd all be ran off 110. But I don't know, this thing's just, it's kind of sick. It's actually pretty powerful when it's not hooked to all those filters. So like I said, if you're actually just trying to move water, this thing works pretty good. So I think the main problem with this pump that I have here is really just the style of pump that I'm trying to use, because this one is just a transfer pump. So this has that rubber impeller in there, where it's like an RV diaphragm pump. It actually can build up pressure and hold you know, like line pressure for in your shower and whatnot. This one has 6 feet of lift, so it can lift 6 vertical feet with the hose attached to it of water, but I'm not sure how much the RV ones are actually rated for as far as lift. So if I get one of those, I think I'll try and do the same thing that I originally had, where I have the pump first and then it pumps it through these, because that, you know, if it was a 60 psi pump, you should be able to run 60 psi at a lower flow rate than the pump's rated for. So while I was videoing, my dad came back with this pump right here. Came out of his camp trailer. He's not 100% sure if it works, but if it does, if we can find the fittings for it, we can at least give it a try and see if this style will work. We are in luck. We're definitely getting pretty custom with it. My dad came through with the fittings and the jumper pack here, so we're gonna see. We've got this all hooked up to pressure through the filters again, and let's see if she'll work. How do you turn this thing on? Just oh wow, and it doesn't sound like crap either. Yeah, that's way better flow, or at least the same flow. Whoa! Fresh glass of water. Alright, so we need to get an RV pump instead of this transfer pump.
I think that'll work.
Yeah. I think this is actually, oh, these are little pressure relief things. I think this thing will be sick. Like, getting it all set up to where you can just pull up and like get water.
Yeah.
I guess for the next rendition, I will snag one of these pumps, take that one back, and then build the plate for it. So what I want to do is have the pump mounted right here next to it, and then build a handle that attaches to the top of these filters here. They have all these little mounts. And then in my massive pile of stuff, I've got this, which is a water sterilizer. So it runs a UV light through that hole, and then it filters the water around it, and then that's actually able to kill all of the other bacteria and microorganisms that don't get trapped in the 1 micron filter. So pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet.
You guys ready for the big reveal? Here it goes. Now I have everything mounted up on the frame. I built a handle at the top, some little brackets right there. I built some brackets to hold the strainer and also the pump. And then I also put on a little cable tray right here. So I need to get some zip ties, but I'll just tuck the wire for the pump up underneath there so you don't see it. I'll come out the other side right next to the plug for the sterilizer. Now all I gotta do is get some connections. I need to get a couple hoses. I need to get a 90 right here, because this is gonna be the inlet. So you'll hook your hose on here and throw it down into the stream, and then it goes through this, around into the pump up to right there, and then this one right here will be the output, which I'm just probably gonna try and find like a nice looking 90, so I can put a 90 on there, and then you can hook your hose up, and that's the one that you'll run into your jug or whatever it is that you're putting your fresh purified water into. Now this is pretty sweet. I like how this came out, where that just goes not quite straight down, but almost. After the filters, it goes right into there. And then yeah, I'm stoked with how the project's coming out, and it's, I don't know, it just looks kind of badass, but then at the same time it's exciting because we're gonna go camping this weekend, so I'm gonna put that in the video too when we actually go out into the wild and give her a rip, see how she performs, see if it does as good as I'm hoping. But I don't know, I'll let you guys know. I will go get some connections. I think I'm just going to take that whole thing down to the hardware store and see what I can find, so I don't have to keep going back and forth, because sometimes it's kind of hard to like picture all the fittings that you need and the length of everything. So that's what we're going to do. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you think this is a good idea, if you would want to build something like this or buy something like this pre-done, and if you could benefit from it, because I think it could be really cool in trailers and vans and stuff. But anyways. I went to the hardware store and I got all the fittings to connect all this stuff. So here's the output right here. So this is where the clean water will come out. I got a little 90, and then this is the input. So when the water comes in, it goes through the strainer, into the pump, into the filter stack, and then into the water sterilizer. So we're out here at this freaking dope lake, about to give it a try. But the thing is, I'm not sure. This is supposed to have an O-ring in it right here, and then I couldn't find the O-ring, and we're up here in the mountains, so kind of made one out of Teflon tape and Gorilla tape. Not sure if it's gonna work, so water might leak out of here, which is kind of a bummer, but we're gonna throw the suction tube in there and then see what we can do. Probably not get it right in the muddiest spot. I haven't found a good way to do this yet, but the UV light goes right in there, and this is just the wire box for it. I haven't found a way to mount it up. I honestly didn't mess around with it too much, but we're gonna see if that leaks out of there first, because if it does, I don't want this in the water. There we go, it's building suction. You can see that water going through right there, and then the water coming out the other side. This thing was completely empty, so it'll probably take a minute to fill it up. And evidently I need a little Teflon tape on that. It's starting to work correctly.
Sweet.
Yeah. And this thing was completely empty too, so we have to wait till that fills up.
Okay, Austin, this is tricky, but you gotta try the regular water and then the filtered water.
What do you mean, try it? Drink it?
Like, drink the regular water first and then the filtered water.
I'll let you drink it. It was your idea. I don't want to ruin it for you.
Your idea, huh?
It's really not flowing as much as I was hoping. That obviously needs to be tightened up. We got a couple things to do. Let's see. Okay, so this is the UV bulb. This is what I'll actually sterilize it, but I didn't want to put it in because I wasn't sure if it was going to leak. It does look like it's seeping a little bit right there. Probably not enough to matter for this test though. We're just running this off a little inverter that's in the 4Runner, so it doesn't take too much power. Power's on. It's green.
Let her rip.
Let her rip, take her chip. I think the biggest downfall of this so far is like the suction. Sucking it through all this stuff. So we had kind of a similar situation as when we were testing it with the irrigation water at home. It ran for a little while, and the more it ran, the slower the flow got, and then it started having problems sucking in water to the system. So at this point, I was trying to get the filter canister off so I could pull one of the filters out and see if it made the flow better. Having like such a small 1 micron filter might be the problem, but I didn't bring the tool to get it off, so this is some redneckery going on here.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
It is running through the sterilizer and down to 5 microns filtration.
Does it taste okay?
It's fine.
Taste test?
There, it does have kind of a weird taste.
Oh no, it tastes pretty good. If anything, it tastes like hose.
Try it. So that's the difference. Like, there's way more flow when you go down to a 5 micron instead of a 1. So it's pumping it straight out of that. You can see how kind of dirty that is. A lot of junk on there. But that little strainer right there is going to get out all the big stuff. And then through the pump and all that. So after some modifications, guys, that thing definitely has some potential. I think we can kind of refine the situation so that it flows a little more efficiently and then a little bit more filtration. I'm gonna, when we get home from this camping trip, I'm gonna go on and see what other filters I can find, just because this one is like a high-end carbon filter. And you know, like if you have a culinary pressurized water that's already clean, you should be able to push that pretty easy. But when you have 60 psi of clean water going through it, it's not as big of a deal. But when you have the pump trying to make 60 psi plus suck it out of there, it's where our problem comes in. But so we're gonna fill up Tanisha's jug.
It's about half empty, so
Yeah, about a half gallon of water. We're just running that. Just running it right off the runner right there. Got a little inverter from Walmart in there, and pretty sick. Now if you get the shits,
oh,
well, no, it doesn't work. Okay, so we're back out here in the forest for another official use of the water filter. This time I'm gonna fill up a 6-gallon jug right there in the back, and then I'm also gonna fill up that 1-gallon jug because we're gonna go on a little camping trip from our camping trip tomorrow. So we got this nice little flowing stream through the meadow there, and we're gonna see how it works. Okay, we got the intake hose right there in the stream. Tanisha on the power.
plug her in.
Give her the beans.
She fired right up.
She fired up. Until it gets that water sucked up in here. Okay, with the flash off, check it out. You can see that UV light in there. So it's lighting up that tube with the blue, and that's what actually sterilizes it. So now we're good to go. Let's get that gallon going. There we go. Flows a little bit light, but
A little light, but
I mean, it'll get
for
the job
clean
done.
filtered water.
Yeah. Look at that fresh water. Now this water is actually pretty clean already, but I mean, it's kind of cool. Well, as you can see, it's fully dark now, and this jug is full, but I don't know, at this point it was kind of a failure because the pump, when it builds up pressure, I think the problem is these filters are starting to get dirty now, so it builds up too much pressure, and that little tiny 400 watt inverter that I have that I'm running with the Forerunner, it doesn't have enough power, so then it keeps tripping. Like, it shuts off and then it kicks back on, and then the pump goes for a second and then it shuts off. I don't know, we've been playing around with it forever out here to get it to work. It's definitely very finicky, so we need to figure out something with the power for the situation and also the filter pressure. I'm gonna have to, when I get home, I'm gonna take this apart and look at these filters and see how dirty they are. I know this one's kind of dirty. When I looked at this one last time, it was fairly clean, but I think the problem is going from a 30 micron now to even that 5 micron. It's like too, I don't know, it's not enough. It's not getting it clean enough before it hits that small filter, so we're gonna have to come up with something else there. But anyways, that's probably where I'm gonna leave this video for now, just because I'm not entirely sure. I think I've tested it as much as I can out here, so I will do a little more work on it, and I'll update you guys when I come up with something a little bit better. But I don't know, that's the idea. I think it could be cool, it just needs to be refined a little bit. So let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching. Peace out.